I'll probably come back to you a little bit. You lost to Athens. What was the score of that game? Okay. What are you going to – you had all those turnovers against Buda. What are you going to do to correct that? Okay. Yeah.
To be honest, we're back in the race here. Last year we made it 3 quarters against Foggy Bottom Boys, and now we're back in the same situation.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Keenan. Good luck out there. Hey, welcome back to the live stream. Of course, here we are with a quarterfinal matchup in the YCC U-20 boys division between the Washington, D.C. area Foggy Bottom Boys, the defending champions here, against the Bay Area Red Dawn. These two teams met in quarterfinals last year. A relatively easy win for the Foggy Bottom Boys and their road to victory. This year could be a little bit different. Foggy Bottom already lost in a crossover match. Sorry, pool play, power pool play to Triforce, the Triangle area team. So they may not be as strong this year. And Red Dawn, now that they've got another year under their belt and facing a similar same quarterfinal as last year, may be a little stronger. So we'll look for these two in a rematch. As you see the Bay Area team warming up there. Aaron, I'm with you. What are you were actually calling this Red Dawn game yesterday. We saw them against Buda. What are your thoughts on this matchup as they face the very tough and difficult to defeat Team Foggy Bottom Boys?
You know, quarterfinals are tricky, especially when you go up against the 1 seed. But I think that the kind of breezy situation that we're encountering now might help mitigate some of that. Definitely wind. We talked about this a little bit last round. The great equalizer, often a very handy kind of 8th defender, at least mentally. So, you know, I'm expecting a little bit of zone play in this game, certainly. But, you know, similar players to who we talked about last time on this Red Dawn area roster. We're probably going to see a lot out of Leo Gordon, number 17.
Yep.
He's headed to Brown next year. And also, let's see here, looking through the list, Luca Spiescher, a pretty heavy contributor in the last game, as long as Zachary Rosner. And there was one other player, I believe, Daniel Landisman had a lot of touches on the disc in that game. So those are the players to watch from Red Dawn. Should be a pretty good game regardless. I understand there are still a lot of spectators here, and we should be expecting a pretty DC-heavy sideline down
What's up
here.
with that? They're all here.
Well, they found some shade, and they liked it, and there was a dog in the shade, so they stayed. But I think DC in general, we heard a lot about their region and area from Sarah Lord last round. Really a lot of club players coaching these YCC teams in the DC area, and a lot of ways to give back. This game against Red Dawn yesterday that Manisha Dariani Slap was here to talk about with me, made up of a number of players from the Berkeley High School team that won High School National Invite this year. So surely a lot of kind of high level and pressure situation experience, I think, on both sides. So I'm hoping for a good game, and the wind is starting to pick up a little bit, and that it only makes it more exciting in a lot of ways.
The assistant coach for this team here, well, now you're looking, sorry, at Foggy Bottom Boys. I did talk to head coach Mike Klemenski, and he was telling me a little bit of the team. We'll get into that more as the game goes on. But the assistant coach to Red Dawn, Keenan Lawrence, told me that the wind was going to be helpful to them. They expected to be, I'm assuming, to put on a zone, kind of like what you were saying, Aaron. But they think that will be hopefully a difference maker for them this year, as opposed to their loss last year to this team. You know, the youth scene, as I'm learning and discovering through this tournament, pretty different across different cities and jurisdictions. As you see the Foggy Bottom Boys getting psyched up. This is a team here in the DC area that is made up of 4 players from Maryland, 7 from DC, 10 from Virginia. They are kind of a split between EULA, which is the Youth Ultimate League in Arlington, and YCC, of course, the long time, I believe it's one of the longest leagues in the country. That is the Washington Area Frisbee Club. Frisbee, shoot, I don't know what the C stands for.
Club?
Committee? No.
Committee?
It's the
Consortium?
Consortium.
Is that right?
I don't know. That sounds good.
I was just grasping at straws there.
It's like, you know, it's the...
Collaborative?
Collaborative, no, definitely. That was a word that was not used in the 70s. 76 they go back to.
Commune?
Yes.
In the 70s?
The
We're talking
Washington
about the 70s?
Area Frisbee Commune.
I think that sounds like a great place to live.
That's our trivia question for today. What does WAFC stand for? Pretty easy one that we are failing on. The WAFC scene is big and it's huge. There are 12 varsity ultimate teams in that area, 8 JV. So this team here, Foggy Bottom Boys, as you see, lining up to pull right now, that is Marcello Ruggio returning this year. He was with the team last year. That pull will sail out of bounds. However, Red Dawn will start going downwind a little bit as the wind is picked up.
Yeah, when we look at that wide shot of the field, Tony and I are feeling the wind kind of coming over the back of our right shoulder. A good place to check to see how windy it is if you're at home is kind of the shade tent ripple, and then for stationary players, their jersey.
Quick shot to the end zone here. This looks pretty good. It's a score right away. Downwind corner. Nice placement. No problem for Red Dawn as they hold here 3 passes for the goal.
That shot caught by number 17, Leo Gordon, a player to watch, somebody that Slap called out as one of the kind of key pieces of this team. Usually, or not, maybe not usually, in the last game that we saw from this team, he was handling a lot. And so to see him be the kind of aggressive downfield receiver, maybe not exactly what I expected, but certainly effective.
I would think that was on purpose to design a play, and I love that strategy, right? Let's show that we're versatile so that maybe they'll back off of him a little bit and allow Gordon to get free looks in the handle position as a reset when needed, because he is such a powerful thrower. As you see, he's picking up the disc right now to pull it.
I love that comment, Tony. You're absolutely right. I think we sometimes forget too often that, you know, the game is long, and you know, short term, hitting Leo Gordon in a handler set benefits your team. But if you can show other attack angles, you keep the defense honest, right, for the course of the game, similar to how we talked yesterday in this Red Dawn game about how kind of moving the disc laterally and trying to attack the break side yields easier shots at that open side cone, you know, maybe later on in the game. So setting up a little bit of a long-term strategy so that Leo Gordon doesn't get kind of pinned where he is later.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, open it up. Make the defense respect you in and out. That is the key. Always have 2 options. There's a lot of that you see in Ultimate Sports in general. Whoa, low pass dug out here, fortunately for the Foggy Bottom Boys, as this is over to Jacques Neeson.
It's a really nice upwind pull, by the way, by Red Dawn.
Jacques Neeson's sister, Margot, was on that rogue team you saw on the last stream. Matthew McKnight, another one of the captains on this squad here. He'll get the disc in the center position right there in the middle of your screen.
Red Dawn showing a little bit of a straight up look with some kind of sags into lanes, probably to disrupt a downfield punt or huck.
Worked for a little bit, but this is an open opportunity now as McKnight is surveying the field, and he'll put one in. Nice touch there. Sort of not too difficult to that cone there as Marcello Ruggio gets to it first. And it's 2 quick holds.
Yeah, despite the upwind pulls that have been more than adequate so far, both downwind scores here. Sometimes the downwind end zone is the more difficult end zone to score in, but the wind so far not kind of catching the speed on the back end of the disc yet. So these have both been scored kind of, I don't know, within 5 yards or so of that far sideline in that back corner. So it'll be interesting, again, from a long-term perspective to see how teams try and attack width-wise up towards us, which is the high side, and theoretically
Yeah.
where the throws should be easier over the course of the next few points.
Maybe we'll get a wind speed graphic up here at some point.
We do have hyper-localized weather technology,
exactly.
so maybe.
And go. No, just teasing. 9, so it's up 5. The gusts are definitely more than that. I want to put them at, I don't know, 14, 15. It's pretty gusty, maybe because we're up high a little bit, but that's a little bit of a wind. You gotta organize, and we'll see if this is of an upwind downwind game. You know, last year in the finals, Aaron, you saw these Foggy Bottom Boys. I don't know what the weather conditions were like then, but I don't know if there's any comparisons between last year and this year.
You know, I would love to be able to tell you that I remember every single one of these teenage boys, but I regret to inform you that I do not.
The game itself.
Right. You know, I think it was a good game, and what we kept talking about in that game was just kind of how impressed we were by the individual skills and consistency in these very young players still. You know, and maybe that's a bit of a cop-out, but I'm not particularly invested in the outcomes of these games. I'm a fan of good ultimate, and I still really appreciate these U-20 players playing good ultimate, and I think that's what we saw in the final last year, was good ultimate.
Nice horizontal set here as Seth Wells back in the backfield there, handling, and Michael Tao next to him. He'll get the disc here. Tao now looking as this is sort of a side stack. They split here. That was a nice set downfield as this disc now in the hands of Aiden Curry. Defense is tight from Foggy Bottom, but Tao will get it on the reset, and there's a violation call here. Just a little bit of a gum up. Always seems to happen when you get 7, 8 passes going in tightly contested spaces. There's the Foggy Bottom defender, Isaac Lee, one of the spirit captains for this DC team.
There's a player downfield for Red Down right now, number 24, Riley Kirkman-Davis, who is running actively in the stack with his jersey in his mouth, which I find entertaining. But it's not altogether uncommon to see a player do that. I don't know exactly what the point is, and I'm spacing on the name right now, but I think a very prominent player, maybe from Bravo, used to do that a fair amount. I think it was Stanley Peterson who used to do that. So whether it's a habit that you develop on your own or a habit that you're trying to do to emulate a role model, I don't really know, but an interesting question. Maybe he feels faster with his jersey in his mouth. I guess we'll see, huh? Wow.
Nice put there. Tao finds the front cone, that valuable real estate, and that's Danny Landisman. He is fast. He is quick. He was on the team last year that won in the mixed division power lines out of the San Diego area. That team not here this year. He joined up, going up north to San Francisco to catch up with this Red Dawn team. And we'll see him later on at the University of Colorado. Sorry, Colorado University, of course, in Boulder, playing for Mama Bird. That's a good pickup for them and for Danny Landisman.
Well, that explains why his name sounds so familiar to me yesterday, was that he was on that Powerline roster. Probably said it out loud a bunch of times on the live stream.
Also on a team in the league you may be familiar with. Hint.
A team in the league?
In a league that you may be familiar with.
In a league that I might be familiar with.
That's all I'll say.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Bay Area.
Not Bay Area.
Not Bay Area.
No, south. He's in Southern California. Los Angeles.
Okay. You're the trivia guy. I don't know very much. I'm Coach Corner Aaron. I got some answers about you tactics. I don't remember player names.
I think you should do trivia today. Sorry for this particular broadcast because I don't have my sheet.
Just like a random piece of knowledge that I have, or something about coaching?
Yeah, why don't we each do one? I've got one. I've got my trivia question. You think of yours.
Let me think. I'll think for a little while here.
So here's Foggy Bottom again. All hold so far, downwind, and the zone defense from Red Dawn. This is what they wanted. This is what Keenan Lawrence told us would be coming. That was a difficult, contested has McKnight here quarterbacking. He will be going to North Carolina next year to join that program, we presume. Of course, they had won it 2 years ago, and not this year, College Nationals for Darkside.
Now I'm just trying to think of things that will stump you, but I don't know if I have anything.
A lot of things can stump me. Tober there, now McKnight again. Scuba makes it look easy over the top, and they're centering it, kind of looking for McKnight every other here. That's Rosenthal, number 23. Drop back to Aaron Bartlett. And McKnight, pretty casual, almost a little too casual. But they're not having too much difficulty here. McKnight, let's see what he wants. Looks like he's got the whole arsenal, that's for sure. Nice lefty grab there from Neeson. Played for the French national team, I believe. Jacques Neeson. I like this Red Dawn defense.
I do too, and it is a little bit familiar. Oh no, we're just gonna do more scoobers? More scoobers.
It's downwind. I mean, it was, well, Buddha was doing all the scoobers in that last game.
There have been a remarkable amount of scoobers this weekend.
I love scoobers.
I'm just alarmed.
I think you're wrong. Like, a downwind scuba has a lot of control. The pacing of the throw, you can control that throw way better than perhaps you give it credit to.
I mean, I'm not. A scuba is totally a valid throw. The frequency with which we saw scoobers this weekend in certain situations was not what I expected. It just wasn't what I expected.
How many scuba turnovers have you seen this weekend?
8, maybe 8.
All right.
Right, into tight spaces that got batted down or went hit the turf, maybe.
I'm not up.
There was also a point in a game where there were 6 scoobers in 1 point, and I believe that was
all of them completed passes.
Right, I believe that was Buddha yesterday.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't disagree with scoobers on the whole. There are a lot of them, and they're just noticeably a lot. That's all.
Certainly, downwind, you've got some good arm action with the scuba. It sort of even goes with the flow of the pass, like the disc. Upwind, it can be problematic, and you have to really cut it a lot more. So, clearly not your best choice for facing this direction. Nice pull there from Foggy Bottom. But downwind, I do like the scuba motion. I believe it's an effective and useful throw for sure. As we see a very similar looking zone set here, a 4-person cup, 1 mark, and then 3 cup here from Foggy Bottom. So these two teams looking fairly identical at this point, so I guess it's strength on strength. Tao gets it through the middle there, cycles it up to Rosner.
I do think that whatever team utilizes this high side and tries to move it more laterally will ultimately be the victor. And that is a good example, I think, of why it's important to move the disc horizontally on this field right now.
Yeah, that worked out pretty well there as they get it into number 8, Danny Landisman, of course. And there's Kirkman Davis with the shirt in his mouth, as you were saying, getting some ventilation, I believe.
That would make sense.
It's kind of hot and humid, that's for sure, as we see the teams line up here. Replay Kirkman Davis there. Easy cheesy, no problem here. So, kind of like a game we had yesterday, Aaron, it's not really a game until the first break. Like, both teams holding downwind, no turnovers so far, kind of sensing each other out. No one's jumped the lanes. No one's made any big, gambles on anything quite yet that have at least resulted in success. So we'll see when this game starts to break open sometime soon.
Yeah, also only downwind points scored so far. So that's another kind of key. I think whichever team is able to find their way upwind and then protect that will also, be a little bit more of a game, and certainly will cause the other team to play with a little bit more urgency in order to earn that back as well.
I talked to the coach from Klemenich from the Foggy Bottom Boys and ask, is there a rivalry? They lost earlier to Triforce, right, the Triangle Area team. So is there a rivalry between DC and Raleigh Durham? And he says, well, yeah, kind of. We see each other a lot. And then I could just rattle off a few times here at this tournament. Truck Stop and Ring of Fire meet twice. Truck Stop takes both those games. Rogue and Warhawks met earlier this season. That's a rematch from last year's U-20 girls finals, as we saw Rogue win an easy one earlier here today. So, and they met in a tournament earlier this season. As we see Red Dawn in a person defense now, and McKnight still quarterbacking sort of in the same position he did from the zone.
Yeah, even though the Force is backhand here, a lot of action, again, on that low side, which I'm kind of surprised about because throws should be more difficult over there.
Wow, quick release from McKnight. He's kind of got everything. That was a lefty, and he's been throwing righty all game, so that's an off dominant hand throw in motion from McKnight for the goal, and they make it look easy.
They definitely do. Very clean looks right now. I know both teams came into this game kind of already committed to playing zone, but
now you have to call it out really loud. There's Matthew McKnight. I'm sure the program over there at UNC, speaking of rivalries, happy to steal a DC area player coming down to North Carolina. But, you know, it's all kind of, you know, we say rivalries, but a lot of these players obviously have a lot of fun together and against each other. So nothing too harsh out there. I just see Coach Mike Klemenich.
yeah, Red Dawn are led by their captains, Chang Gordon and Kirkman Davis, and their coaches, John Ortberg and Kaylee Craig. But a notable event there, and I actually remember finding this out during a live stream. There's a number 10 on the sleeve of these Red Dawn jerseys to honor a YCC player who actually died right before the YCC championships a few years ago. I remember asking a little bit more about this and receiving a great answer over the Facebook live stream, which is another reason why we really value that kind of connection. This player, whose name I can't recall right now, was one of these players who just gave 100% all the time, kind of both physically and in.
I'm here with, and those who are not here with you. So we'll see if this is inbounds or out. Pretty close. Wow, great catch. He does land out of bounds. The dive forced him to land on his hands, as you see right there, feet off the ground. Good call that it's out. And right here, Foggy Bottom with a chance to break the first opportunity of the game.
But they're going to need to go upwind, and
Yep.
it's gusty right now. So we'll see how these upwind throws are thrown and collected.
So far, so good. That's Aiden McGurk, but the disc will go back to Marcello Ruggio. They don't have McKnight on this line, of course. Ruggio going to Mary Washington, staying in the Virginia area with the disc, one of the captains, and a returning. Wow, these truck stop guys are getting pretty loud down here.
Do you want me to tell them to quiet down?
No, I think we'll be all right.
Okay. A little bit of ambiance here, Tony.
Yeah, exactly. I
Thanks
mean, it
for
is an
more.
ultimate tournament. It's good that the truck stop DC area team is enjoying the action here.
Yeah.
But this is the opportunity for Foggy Bottom Boys as they're getting closer. There's a lefty shot into the end zone, and it's a
There
break
you
and a
go.
goal.
An upwind break by the Foggy Bottom Boys.
Aaron Rosenthal finds the range there as he zips that in to his player. That is, of course, Andrew London. Sorry, that's not Rosenthal that throws it. Sasha Frank Stempel going to George Washington, another returning senior. Great to have that on the line there. Perfect positioning. The lefty release point from there on that sideline is what you want.
Oh, yeah. Left-handed throws have a different spin on them. Right, when all the righties are struggling with their looks, a lefty has the opposite grip. It's always a great tool to have a few lefty throwers on a team if you can. And I think it's important to tell young left-handed players that they have a little bit of a superpower and can do a little bit different of a thing. And that's one good example of why.
Yeah, the angle of that throw, much harder to get that backhand off, so the quick release they able to really bite into the win. I think we have a heat timeout here. Back to the left-hander release point on the left side. It kind of reminds me of hockey where you have a left wing and a right wing. And, you know, of course, those players can shoot typically from both sides. But if you're a better shooter from one side or the other, that's where they'll put you. There's the truck stop. Guys, let's see if they're going to act rowdy. Now they're like, oh, camera's on us.
No, they're dog sitting. They're taking care of my dog. So they're perfectly responsible right now.
They did take third place.
They did.
I don't know what that means. There's Nikki Spiva walking by. Of course, Delrico Johnson in there. Nate Castine. Very fashionable DC folks. I didn't know there was such fashion expertise in Washington. The district. Do you call it the district?
No.
Do just people in the district call it the district?
They must.
Yeah.
I do know, because I have a dear friend of mine who lives in the Bay Area, that nobody should ever call it Frisco.
Oh, really? I did not know
That's what
that.
I've been told by a local. Happy to hear people comment about that.
I'll have to open up our feed
in the comment stream. Again,
Frisco Red Dawn versus District.
Oh, that's really funny. Yeah, anyway, you can get a hold of us if you would like to interact. The Facebook comment thread, the YouTube comment thread. If you want to tweet at either Tony or I, our handles are available, and we have the technology to check.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that.
Sometimes.
Tony, I did think of a trivia question.
Oh. Uh-oh.
So very recently in D3 College, we have
Cameron Hodgkinson.
the Donovan Award.
Okay.
The Donovan Award, said this is the inspiration, right? The Donovan Award named after a player who tragically died too young of kind of heart complications and failure. I'm interested to know what that player's name is and what club team they spent most of their career playing on.
That's a good one. I don't know the answer.
Oh, viewers at home, do you know anything about the Donovan Award?
I was going to go into some winners of the award.
I mean, you're welcome to. I don't think it would provide any hints to anybody, but, you know, this remembering players that are important to you and remembering players that have been an inspiration to you inspired me with this trivia question,
that's
and
cool.
I would love to hear from folks. Again, who is the player that the Donovan Award is named for, and what club team did that player spend most of their career on?
All right, there's your first trivia of the day from Field 13 and Aaron Maroka. Thank you, Aaron. It's funny because mine trivia question was going to be related to the Callahan Award.
Oh, that's so funny.
You didn't even know that, but that's the one I dialed up.
Well, I guess we're just thinking about all of these players and what an impact they will make on colleges someday, and maybe that's a little bit of a weird psychological connection that we're making as we watch these future stars of the college division compete here at the YCC Championships.
We're going to stay on this tight camera angle now, which is kind of cool as we are down one of our cameras. Just keep that in mind. Oh, we're going to we're going to look at these. We're going to move truck stop out of the way is what we're going to do, because it's becoming a rowdy truck stop. And this is a big hug opportunity upwind from Red Dawn, but it will sail out of bounds. This will give another opportunity to the Foggy Bottom Boys, working downwind now.
That sequence of an upwind break is really powerful, because then you get to go downwind regardless of whether you're on offense or defense. I verbalized that poorly. The upwind break is important because then you get to play defense going downwind, which is an advantage. And that's what we see here. If Foggy Bottom Boys can convert on this break, that's kind of the package deal that you want in a wind game. Then they might be able to just kind of play protect and protect that upwind end zone for the remainder of the game.
I guess they have a wealth here, because the Foggy Bottom Boys put Matthew McKnight just on the downwind point, so it's almost like they're putting their best player just to convert these downwinders, as opposed to maybe using that player for upwind scenarios, as he casually dishes the lefty over to his teammate, Jace Dean.
I think that's a really smart strategy, actually. If you already have kind of tallied an upwind break, you want to have a really talented line of defenders on those downwinds, even if they're playing offense. honestly, because you have to protect that end zone.
Tight spot, but it's collected. That's a goal for Foggy Bottom Boys, their second break in a row, as they have yet to have a turn or a break against them, as they are looking pretty solid here. McKnight quarterbacking again. Said that too many times on the quarterback, but he's doing pretty well out there. So while I search online for the Donovan Award origins, which I was going to say the two recipients that I could think of are Tulsa Douglas, who we had mentioned earlier. We saw her playing for Brute Squad, and Henry Babcock, who is in the main area. I believe he's one of the coaches for the Rising Tide U-20 team here at the YCC Championships. Those are the two. Oh, here's another one. Of course, Villanueva, the Air Force Player of the Year this year. I think he won the Donovan Award. I don't know the answer though. Can you give me a hint?
It is a Midwestern.
It's got to be Minnesota
team.
area.
It's a Midwestern team.
Minnesota's in the Midwest, right?
It's true that Minnesota is in the Midwest.
All right, so I get some half credit for that. I sound like a grade schooler, right?
Yeah, I'm really hoping that we have some folks at home who are willing to interact with us. I'm trying to.
Unlike these truck stop guys that are interacting with us right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to get at the the Facebook app has changed my ability to see the comment thread on time. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see if anybody comes through. I think we still have some time to listen to that kind of feedback, and we'll resume this quarterfinal matchup. Obviously, Red Dawn going downwind again. It is pretty hot, and the wind has died down just a bit.
Loved hearing Dariani's comments yesterday about how this program, and there's a foul call there as the body of the defender Isaac Lee from Foggy Bottom Boys a little too gritty and close on the Red Dawn cutter there, number 14. Of course, that is Keaton Viadro.
A lot of discussion right now and a little bit of communication for defensive strategy coming from the Red Dawn coach here, asking his player to take a step off the disc. Sometimes guarding the angles are better than over pressuring the disc.
Shock. Nissan celebrated there on the side for getting a piece of that disc, but Red Dawn collects it. And this back to Wells, who skies up in the air for it. Wells looking around, originally looking for Chang, but instead is able to get it to Jason Huang. Out to Liu. Nice break as he gets the around look. Good patience here from Red Dawn. Not what we saw earlier against Buddha. And there's a score, no contest. No violation there as Keaton Viadro gets it, and they're pretty enthused on the Red Dawn team.
I'm appreciating what I'm seeing down on the field from both teams right now. Have you heard the term mistake ritual before? Slap is on the ground giving us insight, but mistake ritual. Have you heard this term, mistake ritual, before?
I have not.
So we benefit from an era of kind of ultimate coaches and a lot of material online for their benefit, but there are a few women actually in the community who are specializing in mental toughness and ultimate. Guylaine, I think, has been in Montreal. I don't know where she is anymore. And then Anna Ragaki in Australia have written a lot of materials about mental toughness and ultimate. And one of these things that has a term is a mistake ritual. And it means that when something doesn't go as planned, right, you don't want to dwell on it. You want to have a short memory. And sometimes, especially young people, need a bit of a cue to get over that and to kind of move on and continue to play well. And we talked a little bit about that zone of optimal performance, right? So it's sometimes a necessary switch to kind of hit for yourself to get back in there. So we see these Red Dawn players putting their arms up in the air, which is a common mistake ritual, and everyone on the team does it. And it's a way to acknowledge, right, that you just got scored on or that something didn't go quite right.
Okay.
And then just now when the Foggy Bottom Boys got scored on, they all did little kind of pointer fingers up into the air, and they all did that as well.
Big bomb there. McKnight to Tober all the way, full field. That's a connection that made look easy on the downwind side. That's all about McKnight and Tober getting a free look on it. And that's a score and a hold quickly for the Foggy Bottom Boys. And the reset, the mistake ritual brought them home to this point right here. And now we see the other side of it, which is the high five.
Yeah, the arms
the
up in
10.
the air right there.
Yeah.
We're going to see this again from Tober. Tober, the tallest player on the field. Oh, we're not going to see it again.
Convinced of that? He looks pretty tall.
He looks pretty tall. But again, he got open in that space alone. I don't want to we notice a lot of tall. Takes a lot of skill to get down there. Shake free, a lot of speed training. I think that was a good set play and a good target for that big downwind throw.
Yeah, obviously a set, that was a set play, at least it sure looked like it. And the release points from McKnight really already dialing up as good of a game as you can get mistake-free from McKnight so far.
So Foggy Bottom Boys still just kind of protecting this upwind break that they have. So we'll see them go upwind on defense and see if they can cause another bit of chaos for this Red Dawn offense going downwind. But again, a little bit of a calmer wind condition now than the gusts we were experiencing a few points ago. So it may become a moot point soon, or maybe commentary curse will come into action and it'll get worse. Anything could happen.
No one so far on the Facebook feed has answered our question, your trivia question on the naming of the Donovan Award. Again, what player and what team was the Donovan Award named for? That is the trivia question on our plates right now, as we see Wells, Red Dawn looking to move quickly here up to Landesman. Landesman looking. He will probably try to reset to Wells, who makes the up line cut for him. Gets it back. Wants Landesman, but he's covered well by Marcello Ruggio. Good matchup there. Two experts. Now Wells is going to have to punt. He throws it up. Landesman is going to be there. The no look from Wells. Let's see if this was a stall or not. That was pretty cool. He just turns around, winds up,
just a no-look punt.
Right to his receiver. So this, if anything, is going to be a stall 9. Now, just real quick, the observer not mic'd up because it's an instructional observer. There he goes. He has to put it to space for Rosner. That looked good. Seth Wells, couple of good throws there. The last one counts.
Well, I don't really know what to say about that little sequence. A good heads up, a good, we talked a little bit, right, when there's a stoppage, that it gives offense an opportunity sometimes to just look around and get out of their blinders, or, you know, for someone to say a keyword on a sideline or say their name and get them organized. So appreciate that kind of last minute heads up ability to know that he had to pick up and throw immediately, or tap in and throw immediately, right? But I'm sure he had a minute, or not a full minute, but a few seconds to look around and find a target before that happened.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the smart thing to do, right? Like, okay, it's resetting. I'll pretend like I don't know where I'm going to throw it. He knew exactly what his throw was going to be. Wells going to Boulder will be joining Danny Landesman. That's why he was looking for him in the beginning. Those two will join a friend of mine in the community. Speaking of Philadelphia, a guy we know, of course, if you know anything about Philadelphia Ultimate and Pot, a Big Rick, whose son Alex Atkins made a pretty big splash at his freshman year at CU Boulder. So Atkins will be a sophomore, and got a couple good freshmen, and these two coming in.
Very cool. Well, do you want me to answer my trivia question?
I don't know. What do the crowd say? Oh, we have an answer from Cameron Hodgkinson. Kelly Donovan, player from Madison Noise.
Bing, 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 bing. That is correct. Good job on the trivia. We did it.
Cameron Hodgkinson, you win a Fulcrum t-shirt.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if that's true, Cameron. I'm so sorry.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, Cameron Hodgkinson, we'll see with the Fulcrum shirt. I can guarantee you that.
Okay.
It might be a women's small, though.
That's fair. Kelly Donovan was a player who played on Madison Noise for a number of years, and she was very well known in our little region for dyeing her hair fun colors, for wearing a very bright gold skirt when she played. She was a very kind of unique personality. Everybody knew who she was. And this is a compliment that a lot of women don't get, but she kind of took up space in the best possible way, right? Everybody knew who Kelly Donovan was in this area, certainly in the mixed division that I play in. Oh, exciting. Oh, exciting.
Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, that's totally okay.
But carry on with your story as we're looking at this opportunity here for Red Dawn.
So Kelly did end up moving out to Seattle and was coaching youth out in Seattle, and on the sideline at a tournament, she actually had a kind of a heart episode, and we lost her too young. It was really tragic, and then they named the award after her after some consideration and thought, which is a really touching tribute to her spirit, and I really appreciate that they did that for her, and we think about her a lot.
Well, thank you for that, Aaron. I think that's important to remember, you know, those that we have lost and the spirit that they brought. That's really kind of what you're hoping for. That's why you do name these awards for people. It's the spirit that we have lost. As now you saw that turn of events there, trying to get into that upwind corner. The wind flopped the disc around, and it wasn't able to be collected by Red Dawn. And now McKnight and this powerful offense from the Foggy Bottom Boys are working downwind again.
Red Dawn in a zone look still.
Well, it's been pretty effective for them. It got that turn. And now Neeson holding the disc. And there's a little bit of a discussion here. I think probably maybe whether he traveled or not, because he was kind of checking his feet to see if he was in or not, and he sort of shuffled around a little bit. So Jacques Neeson. So again, instructional observer. He is really just there, he or she, of course, the observer, just there to give advice and not make rulings. So this is sort of equivalent to maybe a game advisor in WIFDIF or the old game advisors. But at this level here in youth, the instructional observer is just there for guidance and typically doesn't say too much. So in the last game, Aaron, that you called here with Sarah Lord, the observer declined to have a mic on him, and he said, well, the reason is because I'm not actually going to say anything. I'm like, oh, well, all right, that's a good reason.
Right. My understanding is that if they do have to kind of weigh in, it's often in kind of paraphrased rules and
okay.
maybe hypotheticals, right? And
there's not going to be the contest, are you coming
right,
to me?
and because you can't go to the observer for a ruling. Similar, I think, in most developmental leagues, in high school league, it's okay for a player to ask a coach on the sideline for a paraphrase of the rules. That's my understanding. That is still allowed. Obviously, the coach can't intervene or make calls from the sideline, but kind of anyone in a leadership position and an adult on the sideline is allowed to say, yes, paragraph B says, and kind of paraphrase the rule. And I think that's kind of similar to what the instructional observer is for, is to just remind them what the rule says.
So there's the score. Aaron Bartlett to Andrew London for the hold for Foggy Bottom Boys, but it was exciting as Dawn had the opportunity, but Foggy Bottom makes it hold here as they take a 7-5 lead. Good game so far.
Not sure exactly what's going. Oh, they're lifting a player up in that end zone, Red Dawn. Perhaps another level of that mistake ritual. Definitely still a close game, right? The advantage here to Foggy Bottom Boys, who have scored that upwind break. And it looks like we are either, we must be in a timeout.
Looked like the instructional observer actually indicated a set timeout, pointing to the Foggy Bottom Boys tent. But it's also 12 points now, and they're supposed to come every 4 points. So if the temperature is up there. So anyway, we'll take a little bit of break. You see Keenan Lawrence right there in the dark, number 51. He was on this Red Dawn team last year and has graduated. And I believe he said he was going to Foothills school. Foothills University, Foothills Institute. I want to say Foothills Institute, and I told him, hey, you have a long history of playing Ultimate at Foothills, and he was like, really? I was like, yeah, in the 70s, there were 2 California teams. There was the Condors, and there was Foothills. And Foothills were pretty good, but they couldn't make it to the national championship. And Aaron is on here circling all the Brown University folks on this roster, and this is kind of cool. Here's another one. And let's see, we're going to go through 4 players going to Brown. Carleton, you know, it's always talking about Carleton. Let's see, Boulder has 3. So Colorado has 3 folks that you're seeing out here. Committed, do we say that now? Do we get into like, you know, I'm committed to go to this university? No, well,
they haven't signed anything.
Right? Yeah.
They're accepted.
Accepted.
But it's not like contractual, is it? And they don't have to play Frisbee when they get there if they don't want to.
Correct. And they might not. They might not. I mean, you know, you're talking about a Brown team that just won nationals, and you're talking about a Boulder team that was in semis. So pretty good team. So yeah, you're coming in from a pretty good program, and obviously in some cases here, these folks you're seeing make some plays out here are really good. But will you be able to, you know, contribute or be on the team right away? Who's to say? You know, I don't think John Randolph is giving up his spot on the O-line anytime soon.
That would be an interesting thing to know, is how many freshmen have come in to a college program like that and immediately gone to O-line. Because that's a big deal, that O-line spot. And I bet it's pretty rare, but I can imagine some situations, especially with U-20 players coming into maybe a smaller program, who immediately are trusted in that capacity. And some of these players, right? We've talked about it before. YCC is a good sneak peek at some of the future stars and stewards of our sport. And there are going to be names on this field that we say over and over and over again for the next decade, right?
You make it sound a little bit, you know, tedious.
It's not tedious. It's just, it is. It's a little bit exciting, right? It's a will they or won't they? Will they live up to this potential? Will they continue to climb? And if this is baseline for them, how good are they going to be in the next 3 to 5 years? And that's an incredible thing to think about.
Through the middle here to Tao. And there's a call. Looks like a pick as Rosner cut across the center of the stack. So McKnight will walk him back. And there's another high five. Oh, McKnight, sorry, was pointing to center there as Noah Ball Burke, one of the Brown commits, will reset his position. Rosner with the disc. Looking for Landisman. Reset to Tao. Tao will put this to Wells. Wells has a space. This is a defender. Landisman gets there first. A foot race between Landisman, who is ahead of Wells. I thought that was originally going to Seth Wells. Danny Landisman takes it from the 2 the Mama Bird folks, and Big Rick told me that Alex Atkins will be a junior in the fall, not a sophomore. Get that correction out of the way.
Well, I'm just glad those 2 receivers had some sort of communication going, because sometimes we see in big games 2 receivers go for the same disc from the same team and create a little bit of a troubling situation. But Wells, clearly with eyes on the situation, feels like it's handled and doesn't go in there to make anything dangerous or untoward occur. So from Red Dawn, we need to see a line that can go defensively upwind and maybe get a break. It would be a great time to make a move here right before halftime. You know, it's just the one upwind break right now that's being protected. Certainly anything can happen. And the wind is in and out, I would say.
We'll take a brief check-in on kind of what this is going to look like. You know, talking to the coach of the Foggy Bottom Boys, Mike Kleminski. So the loss to Triforce puts this team here, the winner of this game, if it's either Foggy Bottom Boys or, of course, Red Dawn, they go into the bracket with the winner of the Atlians, that is the ATLians, I should say, that is Atlanta, who is playing the Delaware Valley team, and that, of course, is sort of a New Jersey, Pennsylvania kind of combo Devil. So, and Devil having a pretty good time of it so far. They are undefeated facing into quarters. They came out of the bottom brackets, and we have an update on that game right now at 6s. And a Devil looking for revenge. They lost a tough quarterfinal match last year to get knocked out. And pretty cool to see if the AT Aliens are going to emerge in that one as well. Two pretty good teams. And we have a stoppage here. AT Aliens, the number 2 seed overall. Devil, the number 9. Triforce, the number 3. Red Dawn, the 4 seed. Buddha, we saw as the 5 seed. I like that name, AT Aliens. I have trouble pronouncing it all the time because I have to get the ATL part of it.
Naming a team is always difficult, but we get a lot of fun combinations of team names out here.
Uh-oh. Oh, wow.
Nice snag.
He made that look easy. McKnight wants to put this to Neeson, but instead up to Bartlett.
Yeah, Red Dawn seems to be in a person defense and a little bit of a straight up mark on the shooter. Wow, a nice attempted layout D. Nice possession saving layout there.
Yeah, first Bartlett and then Rosenthal. Bartlett again's gonna have to do another one.
Oh, game of inches.
Yeah, pushed down by the wind. That throw from McKnight not effective as it gets pushed away from Rosenthal's bid. And now a chance for Red Dawn as their silent gets a little bit excited.
Yeah, and the wind a little bit stronger as they face that upwind.
Looking smooth so far. Landisman, he's got an open target and he throws it. He puts it down to Viadro. Viadro is in!
He did it!
Oh, there's a call here. Was he in or not? Viadro seemed pretty convinced he was in, but the Foggy Bottom Boy defender saying no. Xiao saying send it back, or no, he's telling his teammates get off the field. Leo Gordon is.
We'll get to see this again. Remember, we're looking for a blue line on the front of this end zone and his first point of contact. So watch his feet. He's catching it now. Do you see the line, Tony?
Looks like he landed on the line.
All right.
If I were to call that, I think that's the line. The lines are going to be repainted tomorrow, but today it's not that well painted at this point. So I'd put this at the line. If I were Viadro and anyone else, really difficult to call. You know, if they want to come over and look at the monitor, and there's the instructional observer.
And of course, just for clarification.
We'll take a 5-minute timeout. We'll be back in a bit.
No, yeah, just a reminder that in Ultimate, the line itself is out. So in order to be in the end zone, you have to be in the grass proper, in the green grass, not the blue grass. The blue grass is not part
Unless
of the
you're in
end zone.
Kentucky.
Oh, okay, fair. Trying to get me on a technicality, Tony.
I don't know, just being silly.
Looks like we are going to bring that disc back in and play it.
Handshake from Ben Greenberg and Keaton Viadro. And Viadro will have the disc, Keaton behind him. Sorry, Greenberg behind him. So Viadro here. So what do you do here? Gordon's going to be covered by Jacques Neeson. He's going to have to get open fast. Oh, he does. Makes that work and then kick spikes it. Sorry, that's Kyle Liu. And that's a break upwind for Red Dawn as they have tied this game up.
That was the move they needed. That was good. I mean, a little bit maybe lucky that the downwind throw by McKnight was a bit too far, perhaps, but clearly putting effort into all these defensive matchups and making some throws feel a little bit harder and some spaces a little bit more difficult to hit. So, you know, a good move there. Really clean offensive movement upwind for the most part. And yeah, to your point, I think if we'll see it again here all the way back from the beginning, you know, this effort here really close makes him maybe work a little bit harder, feel a little bit more urgency. Urgency doesn't translate well to precision. And then here's Viadro. Just, that's an interesting little moment there.
Yeah, Kyle Liu uses sort of the body of Viadro to sort of get open there as Greenberg was going the other direction on him. You know, pretty short field, not much to do there. What I really like about this game is how well Red Dawn's playing. This is not the team we saw earlier against Buddha in their loss. They did take a loss also to the AT Aliens. So 2 losses on the books for Red Dawn. You would not know it by this game. They're playing great. Foggy Bottom Boys also with a loss to Triforce. I believe we have a little bit of a breakage here in time as this game knotted at 7s. And now, similar to how we saw earlier, a chance for them to break downwind back as the Foggy Bottom Boys will have to go upwind to hold. And they will huddle up here.
This is I think our 3rd Galaxy point of the weekend, Tony. Of course, the Galaxy point, the quote-unquote universe point at halftime.
You have to say it with the accent, or it doesn't count.
No, I can't. I'm not an accent. I'm incapable of doing accents. But yeah, I am really impressed with the way Red Dawn is playing right now. We know Slap is over here on the sideline somewhere, probably coaching at the top of her voice in some cases, as specifically when they attack to the break side. That's her favorite thing that they do. But you know, just tournament reps are the most important reps often for a team that is still gelling. And this is a good reminder that the youth club season is pretty short. Usually tryouts happen between January and May, but most YC clubs don't overlap with the high school season. And most high school seasons are still in the spring, which means that even if tryouts are in January, there are often not a whole lot of opportunities to practice, and certainly not any opportunities to go to a tournament with your new YCC team until summer proper. So most of these teams have maybe one warm-up tournament under their belts. And it's inconsistent kind of competition level. Some of these YCC teams compete at college tournaments or adult tournaments to get the reps that they need. A lot of local teams scrimmage the YCC team when they're a club team.
Foggy Bottom told me that they went to a tournament called Stonewalled, an adult tournament, but they do not like going to YCC warm-up tournaments.
Do they not want to give any of their strategy away?
I don't know. I think he said he was more, Coach Mike Leminski said he was more concerned about injury. Let's watch this point here as McKnight and Neeson try to work it upwind. The scuba over the top picked off by Neeson. I don't know what the call is here. Maybe a stall. That's why you saw that quick release. Kind of not a great throw from McKnight.
A little bit of a sideline reaction to that call. But we'll let the players on the field handle it, as we do here.
That was one of the coaches for the Foggy Bottom Boys, of course, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention the coaches for Red Dawn, also John Ortberg and Kaylee Craig. I think you did mention them earlier. And Tyler Monroe and Ty Adderhold, along with Mike Klemenich for the Foggy Bottom Boys. So McKnight and his defender there, E.T. Chang. Wow.
That's the third time that he's thrown that throw to that player in that point.
Yeah, Jacques Neeson, of course.
Picked off. Exactly what Red Dawn is looking for, an opportunity.
E.T. Chang eats that one up. Throws a risky one, though. Let's see if it's gotten back. It is. And Marcello Ruggio comes up a little bit limping, however. Let's see if he's all right. He bounces back up. Okay, good for him. Wow, that looked a little awkward, but he got the D there, did Ruggio, and kept his hat on.
Well, he's got the strap tightened, so that's helpful.
That is also another Minneapolis fashion statement, if I recall correctly. Didn't they all wear those fisherman hats like that one year? That'd be a little weird if they all
Not
did.
that I recall.
Just the football pants.
It's possible that I could have blocked it out.
And the mustaches.
Mustaches are a thing with a lot of men's teams, I think. There's the mustationals idea. But a lot of these players probably can't do that quite yet. We'll give them some time.
Yeah, they might have to be questioned about that, as Ruggio looked to bomb it instead to McKnight. McKnight, Rosenthal, Neeson, and Ruggio working here for the Foggy Bottom Boys. Ruggio with the disc.
This is good defense by Red Dawn here, forcing a lot of backfield throws.
Yeah, don't really like the offensive sets either from the Foggy Bottom Boys. They're kind of gummed up. Neeson with the disc, looking for Tober, his big man. But he was late to find him, and now he has to get rid of it quick. McKnight wants to put this to Tober, and he will. He'll rip it up. Oh, sorry, he's got Rosenthal back there.
Wow.
But it's going to sail, and it's a little too far. Rosenthal can't get to it. Sorry, Neeson. That's Neeson back there. That's who he was looking for, Jacques Neeson. And a chance for Red Dawn to break downwind.
You know, that looked really pretty when it went up, but just a little bit of gust from right behind us had a lot of influence on the path of that disc.
Kind of looked like a little frustration because they were bottled up for so long, and he just, you know, Nick Knight has those throws, and he just wanted to kind of get it out there. And now Red Dawn playing great so far as they try to work it downfield. Up to Danny Landesman, who's been huge for them. He puts it deep. He's got Kyle Liu.
Placed. Oh.
Ooh, clean D, but is there a call? I thought he got to the disc first. No, yeah, there is a discussion here. That is Aaron Rosenthal there.
Let's take another look.
Got to the disc, but kind of also got to the body. As Landesman comes up firing. Watch this, he tips it. Liu is sort of in position there. As Rosenthal comes up, taps it at the top. Didn't look like a whole lot of contact there. Let's look at another angle.
I think it depends on what this left arm is doing.
They're gonna send it back. Yeah, just, you know, a little bit of contact there. You know, in some places you'll see that ruled no foul. Some places you'll see that ruled foul. It's just a good send it back. So back to Landesman here. Again, a downwind break opportunity for Red Dawn. If they get this, they will be on serve. Landesman surveying. Back to Liu, can't handle it. Up a little high to throw a little off. Landesman known as a receiver, unable to get the touch on that throw. McKnight will circle the disc and look to attack.
The temptation when you are throwing a touch throw is to throw a little bit higher of a release point, or maybe to kind of not work quite as hard to get low because you feel like that's your power stance. But downwind, you got to go through all the right form if you want that touch to come off, and he just kind of locked his knees and threw a high release into that space.
Well, great defense there. Bottle up Bartlett for a little bit. Finally, he was able to get it off to Neeson.
It's a nice round break.
Yeah, Neeson's got a little bit of everything in his package. The length and the release points. Ruggiero, quick moving. Bartlett, upfield, there it is.
Wow, just a quick little sequence of round break backhands there for an upwind hold.
And bookends for Rosenthal. He got the D down there and gets rewarded with the score. Love to see that. As Foggy Bottom Boys take half in a tightly contested game here. Thought it could be a blowout. Last year this was a 15-8 score. Not the case this year. Both teams playing well. And I don't know, Aaron, what's your takeaways from a pretty exciting first half?
You know, I think we saw both teams start in a zone and kind of transition into more of a person look. And I don't think there are a lot of hard-earned defensive plays going on right now. I think it's a little bit more of these mental mistakes a little bit, or missed throws. So I'm interested to see what these halftime coach discussions yield. I think there's some opportunity here for a little bit of cleaner play on either side, right? And then if we do that, the defense is going to have to ramp up a little bit more and start getting a hand on things instead of waiting for them to go out the back of the end zone.
As we see Rosenthal there talking to his coach earlier, talking to the instructional observer. Not sure what that conversation was about. Maybe on the bid he had earlier on Kyle Liu there. Looked pretty clean from our angle, but a little bit of body there, tough to say. And he and Coach Mike will talk it out a little bit. And love to hear what they're saying there, but it's up to those two to decide. We'll take a little bit of break here for halftime. We'll be back pretty shortly. There's a short half here, 5 minutes, and we'll have another fun trivia question for you on the Callahan Award. Welcome back for the second half here. Foggy Bottom Boys and Red Dawn. So Red Dawn pulling to the Foggy Bottom Boys. They will be going downwind game on serve after the, sorry, not on serve. Red Dawn down a break. Aaron, you ask a pretty good question. Who was the Donovan Award named for? And the question I was going to ask was not who the Henry Callahan Award is named for, which the answer is Henry Callahan. The rule systems that became known as the Callahan Rules, which later became the rules that had the observers. So, and the award was also part of that. So my trivia question, and there's a turn right off the bat as a sluggish Foggy Bottom Boys start this second half. Not a good look from them. Red Dawn still focused and enthused in this game. They will have a chance to break upwind to start the second half.
They are fired up right now.
Viadro.
Viadro has a necklace in his mouth. So another interesting little, I don't know, habit or characteristic similar to his teammate whose shirt is in his mouth at all times. And that immediate energy boost and break upwind. Well done, Red Dawn, on that conversion.
Well, Keaton Viadro is making some action happen out here. Gets enthused. Kirkman Davis finds E.T. Chang. Chang, easy throw into the center of the field as Viadro, the enthusiastic energizer here for Red Dawn. And it's working out pretty well right now as they get that break back upwind.
What I love about this is we just had that score upwind from Viadro where they called him out, right? And he had to come back and tap it in. And when you look at this replay again, you see him eyeball that line and toe that line so carefully because he does not want to have to come back again.
This team really dialed in right now. That's the only way to put it. Foggy Bottom Boys not as enthused. They look a little sleepish as there you see Viadro chewing on that necklace, just like you were saying, Aaron.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do to play well. Sometimes those mental cues become a habit. It's like a free throw shooter who has like a sequence of dribbles and spins that they do before they shoot. I know a lot of players have different superstitions. I think we've talked about it a little bit. Players who change their socks, players who bring another full kit of jerseys to change into if they don't feel like they're playing well. There's hat forward, backwards, and in this case on this Red Dawn team, got to chew on a jersey or a necklace, I guess, to play well. We talked a little bit with Sarah Lord about some of the mental traps that can happen at a tournament and kind of on either side, right? When you are a #1 seed in a tournament, you got a bit of a target on your back. A lot of teams will come to play their best ultimate against you, and so you have to be on your game, but it can be challenging to not take that #1 seed for granted and maybe come into a game and expect to bowl over the competition. Loving the mindset from Red Dawn right now, who are clearly trying for an upset and have a belief that they belong in this game with the 1 seed, and maybe just a little bit of a stutter step from the Foggy Bottom Boys and their mentality.
Well,
Interested
Aaron,
to see them get back on it.
Aaron, there's a big rip from Neeson. He puts it deep to Tober. Tober with the height advantage here, and he skies for it nonetheless. He high points, he goes up for it, doesn't wait on that throw to come down. He goes and gets it. Love that from Tober, the throw from Neeson, and they respond back as the wind has kind of died down a little bit, but Neeson makes sure, puts it up there, hangs it for his big man, and the reward is right here as Tober says, I'll go up and get it.
I appreciate this read from Tober as well. He did kind of take 2 defenders maybe further into the path of the disc than they would have gone otherwise, effectively creating a bigger space for him to go up and into that throw, assuming that he had a better read on it.
You know, I'm a tall man myself, and I'm not a great receiver. You know, in the times that I am a good receiver, it's when I do what Tober just did, which is I just look up into the sky. I just trust my body to kind of follow the path of the disc. I keep my focus. I don't look around me. I'm not concerned that somebody's going to come up and like sky me, which, as I've already related, Bert Abbott has done. And you know, just keep my focus. And then also, you don't forget to jump. If you're a tall man, if you're a big guy, see what Tober did there. He got off of his feet. I find that when you're off your feet, even though you've got, you know, a good 6 inches or more on someone, getting off your feet allows that connection to be made with the disc so that you're not flat-footed, so that you make like a clean catch and you get used to the rhythm of being in the air. So that little hop at the end, you know, he's got so much range, and as a tall person, sometimes you don't do that and you just kind of pick it out of the sky. But I like that he put that little jump on there. I find that to be very important when catching as a tall person. Not as easy as it looks, Aaron.
I'm tall in some contexts. Not in basketball, though.
So now Red Dawn having to go upwind. We've seen 2 upwind points so far out of 2 to start the second half. Wells and Tao will handle here a zone defense from Foggy Bottom.
I like this tactical call here for Foggy Bottom. The zone is what they started in, clearly what they feel comfortable with. And again, we're settling into what is going to be a little bit of a grind mentally and physical. So to go back to the well, so to speak, do something familiar, do something comfortable is, I think, a good tactical decision here. This call here on the D, we're seeing if there's contact, maybe a hand to this shoulder. So we'll see how they resolve this.
Well, I mean, we're going to see a lot of this, you know, in all sports. It's just really close, you know, like kind of clean. He got to it first. He then hit Landesman. After that connection, Landesman would have no way of knowing what happened first. You know, was his body contacted as he was going to get that disc, or did Ruggiero get to it first? I don't know. How's Danny Landesman supposed to know? How's Marcello supposed to know? You know, we're lucky to see it there, and we don't know. Back to Wells. Wells looking and gets it up to, I believe that's Kirkman Davis. No, it's not. Sorry. That's Curry. Aiden Curry, number 71, will get the disc back.
Travel call, I believe.
We didn't get our trivia question up on the little screen there, but I'll reiterate it for you. Oh, nice catch there from Bob Burrick. And the trivia question is, who invented the Callahan Award, the Callahan rules, and the observer system? Sorry, the Callahan goal is part of those rule system. Landesman.
I was going to say, there's a system too. Amazing.
Well, that's a hint maybe, because it was originally called the Callahan rules, and they had within them all of those elements, or at least those 2 elements, was the Callahan goal and the observer system were part of the Callahan rules system. And the second part of that trivia question, of course, the Callahan Award was separate, but at the same time.
I wasn't quite sure why that disc came back after that bid, but it must have been a call. Nice grab there by Wells.
Rosner. Could be a big score here if they get it. They get it. The toast from Danny Landesman. He cuts on the inside, gets to that front corner on the outside, and the patience from Rosner to find him. A hold from Red Dawn as they work it upwind. 3 straight now going this direction. Nice look from Rosner to Landesman.
If we get another look at this, we should watch the fake set of Rosner. Oh, we missed it. That's too bad. Rosner put off maybe 3 different backhand fakes at different angles and at different release points, some of which were for his mark to respond to, but most of which were to try to get that downfield defender a little bit out of position. Just a good, sometimes as a thrower, right, your fake can help.
There it is, I saw it.
Get the downfield defender to bite on a look that they otherwise wouldn't if they were just watching the hips of their player. So faking is so important in the game, and I think it's trendy right now to do that, like no fake backhand. So here's a good example of what happens when you do.
I also noticed, Aaron, that's the 3rd shot to that front cone where, this is kind of random, where we've seen the defender beaten to the front cone and then he throws his hat. That happened twice in the Sub-Zero game, right? To that same cone on that same side, and then we saw Ruggiero just rip off his hat in frustration. So apparently you get beat to that cone, and that's the frustration cone. We're going to call that the frustration cone.
The cone of frustration.
Frustration.
That's pretty funny.
I used to throw my hat. I was a pretty big hat throwing guy. If I got frustrated, I'd rip off my Minnesota Twins hat.
I don't really like wearing a hat. I feel like it impedes on my peripheral vision, and that might just be mental, but it makes me feel like I can't see as well.
Whoa. Oh, wow. Mental error here. Neeson cannot hold on to that one. An easy pass, and the Foggy Bottom Boys face a break opportunity from their opponent in Red Dawn.
I think he was just thinking ahead there, thinking about the next throw, and of course, that's a trap. That's a trap. Just think about the disc coming in your hands, watch it all the way in. Read the words on top of it, even if you have to.
Really? It's spinning.
No, it's a mental cue that we tell some of the young people, right? You should be able to tell me what the logo is on top of the disc because you should be watching it until it stops
hits your hands
rotation,
and stops
right?
rotation. Cool.
So it's just a little bit of a, when you practice music, say, teachers tell you to keep going until the first note of the next frame, kind of.
Right.
And the same thing here, right? You don't necessarily need to watch it all the way in, but it's a good mental cue to keep going past the point that you actually need to watch it.
Oh, Chang
Great break throws there.
finds Huang, and that's a goal for Red Dawn. They are pretty pumped up.
As well they should be.
Exactly. They have played a near perfect game, went down 2 breaks, but kept their composure, and they're really starting to really put it away here in the second half. That's a little early to call. They're really only up 1 break now, but
but it feels like it, right?
Yeah, it does feel like it.
The score of games can be so misleading sometimes. A game that, you know, ends 15-12 could have been tied up at 12s and had a last-minute run. A game that is, you know, 15-8 could have felt like a grinder, right, and just been inches away from being much closer. I think this is one of those moments in this game in particular where this 1-point lead, it feels like a lot right now because of the energy differential, right? But we did see there most of the DC sideline doing their mistake ritual, putting their pointer fingers up in the air, trying to gather a little bit of their identity and get back on here. A downwind, clean hold would be an excellent way to begin.
Red Dawn owning the sidelines right now, and we got a score update on the other side of it. The 9 seed Devil right now leading the ATLians 10-9 in a similar situation here. That'd be pretty interesting if 2 upsets occur and the 1 and 2 seeds both go out in quarters. But we have a long way to go before that. Just keep in mind that these teams obviously graduate players, so you can't just hang around U-20 forever. At some point, you're going to be too old. And most of these players don't get to 20. They're in their 17, 16, 18 range. And so the Foggy Bottom Boys, the defending champions, return 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players. That's pretty good numbers, but that's not like a whole team of returners. You know, you say you return 8 to your core from a club team, and most people will say, wow, you're in trouble. As McKnight rips this to Neeson. Neeson trying to time his jump. Wow, he just finds this space. The defender sort of overran and really in great position, but a better read from Jock Neeson.
Yeah, Leo Gordon, I believe, on the defense there, really just playing the player and not the disc at all, which I think is an interesting choice here.
I like the defense because
closing speed.
Yeah, no foul.
Yes, close to the player. Yes, didn't even look at the disc. Maybe an area of opportunity for next time. Right? But I do value their mental game right now. Immediately put his hands up, asked for his coach to come, you know, jump in the air.
Yeah, they picked him up.
And knock shoulders. They picked him up. A good sign of, again, you know, that's a downwind hold. Downwind holds are bound to happen often. So this is just a mentally strong team, this Red Dawn.
So Gordon's mind on the decision here, I rarely see this, but he made a conscious decision. I'm going to leap in the air and try to distract the receiver from this throw. And why I like that so much is because if he turned around, 99 times out of 100, I feel like it's a foul, right?
Okay.
As soon as you turn around, you're going to run into the other player, right? Because you're going to lose track of where the player is, and you're going to run into him, and that's going to be a foul. So he jumps into the air, purposely avoids contact, and just tries to get in the vision of Jacques Nissen. But I just think Nissan made a great play. So I love that play from Leo Gordon. You don't see that too often. A lot of times the players make the mistake of turning at that last minute to look for the disc and making contact, resulting in a foul. And Red Dawn will work it down here now.
Another zone look from DC here. It looks like they put
risky
a pretty elite line out there to try and make moves here. Red Dawn able to cleanly hold down wind, which at this point in the game is really all they have to do and be consistent about it, because they are trained, or every kind of comeback has to start with a clean hold. So we're seeing Coach out there settling down the O-line, the downwind O-line.
The difference in styles is so dramatic here, Aaron, between this sort of reserved Foggy Bottom Boys. Now, we just called the U-20, the U-20 DC Rogue team on the women's side, and they were pretty jazzed up all the time. And this is a more reserved bunch here on the guy side of things.
I also thought of something while you were talking about the kind of core of returners that might come back to a YCC team year over year. And I believe this is right, and I'm happy to be corrected, but I believe the kind of birthday cutoff is actually June 1st. So a player who turns...
Oh, that's interesting. Gotcha.
Yeah, so a player who is still 19, on June 1st, I think this is what it is eligible to play in U20, but if they were to turn 20 before June 1st, then they would no longer be eligible. So even though in our program we have the ages down, we don't have birth dates. So it's not an exact science to kind of speculate on who might be coming back to YCC next year.
And the Foggy Bottom Boys move it. Matthew McKnight here with the disc. McKnight finds Nissan, who gets to Rosenthal. They make it look easy. Nice confident hold by them as Red Dawn raises their arms, and they'll walk back to the line knowing that they still have the break advantage going downwind.
Oh, a request to be picked up.
Yeah.
This is a good little ritual by Red Dawn. Before they do anything else, before a line is called, before they approach the line that they need to go to for the next point, please pick me up in the air. Support me, if you will.
One year, Aaron, I go to nationals, and there's a team there, never heard of, never seen them. They're new to the scene, and it was Chad Larson Experience, new team out of Ames, Iowa, and a collection of Iowa folks from around the Midwest.
How long ago was this?
Let's just say it was their first time at nationals.
Oh dear.
So you do the math. I don't know. So they have I want to say like a rock on the sideline that's like the size of your head, right? Like a gigantic rock. And they would carry it onto the line every now and then for points, and then bring it back to the sideline, of course. And so I asked them.
This is already the best story I've ever heard about CLX, so keep going.
Oh, well, they're also wearing like crushed velvet red trimmed shorts, like Santa red velvet.
That's also amazing.
Yeah, and I was like, that is unique. Like, I don't even know where they got those. So I'll finish up pretty quickly. So the rock, they told me they brought it all the way from Iowa on the plane. And on the plane, they brought it with them. And I said, why did you bring this rock? And they said, well, because it's really heavy, and it just shows that everyone has to carry the weight.
That's amazing. I love that.
And they won nationals, I think the following year. No, I don't think they did. They made it to semis that year, though. So Red Dawn here facing the zone from Foggy Bottom Boys. Sorry, let's get back to focus here. We do have an answer that is half correct on the trivia question, Aaron. We'll get to that in a bit soon here, too. Wells now, time is running out for him, but he's able to find Landesman. Pretty effective zone here, and nobody is cutting anywhere near for Wells and the Red Dawn team trapped here on the sidelines. They got to do something a little bit better, and this crossfield to Curry will help out Landisman now with the disc in the center of the field. A little give and go, back to Red Dawn and over to Wells. Leo, Gordon, number 17, Wells. These guys making stuff happen here. That's Lucas Spicer. Spicer. Thank you. Landisman, oh, two-handed push pass up to Wells. He spikes it down in glory for this point. 12-11 now. Red Dawn hanging in there, doing it.
I'm hearing Slap's voice in my
Where
ear. No, she's not. I don't know where she is physically anymore.
Ear.
I imagine she would be happy to be on the sideline with Red Dawn right now, but maybe other commitments in life, right? But no, yesterday she talked a lot about how often as a coach of some of these Berkeley boys, she repeats this, we need to swing it, we need to attack the break space, we need to, right? And all of these throws and the eventual score are the product of really committing to that. And so I do wonder how many of these players are hearing Manisha Daryani's voice in their head right now saying, swing it, attack the break space.
Well, she told us also that this Bay Area scene, and let's give a shout out to Valerio Ayani, who is here with an Oakland team. He really helped start the Bay Area scene for youth. And he's someone I've known, Val, for a long time, and has gone in a different direction here, but has started the Oakland scene up. So Daryani made sure to credit him as we have a heat timeout here, so we'll take a little bit of break. We wanted to cruise the field and see if we could find Slap on the sideline. Do not see her. But credit to Val Iani. Again, back to the story, Daryani said that they wanted to model themselves after the Seven Hills program in Seattle, and they're a few years behind, of course, but Bay Area, that's a place with great ultimate. So I think that's signed for Viadro, isn't it? Look at that. Number 14 on the field, number 1 in my heart. Love you, Keaton. That's Keaton Viadro for Red Dawn. Anyway, that's a pretty good program you want to emulate in Seattle, the success they've had winning this tournament, countless times, 14 straight in the women in the U-20 girls division, and plenty of times, of course, in boys and mixed.
We talked on Friday on day 1 of the kind of tournament action here that the U.S. Open is actually 3 events that all happen in overlapping times. And to your point, Thursday was a convention for youth organizers in particular, but also just kind of board of director types from different USA Ultimate affiliate programs and leadership to discuss the development of our sport and the way we support players in various metros and regions. And to your point, which now that phrase is in my head, I'm sorry
Absolutely.
if I'm being repetitive, but I think every metro area and every maybe individual youth team would be served well by having that kind of mentor or a team or organization that they would like to emulate or look up to. Some of these youth scenes are starting to get really large. They're servicing the middle school age group, right, with a lot of leagues. Some of them are even able to support an elementary school league, but there are still states that can almost only run an 8-team state tournament at the high school level. And so there are kind of a lot of different tiers right now of youth members and infrastructure at the state level. So I think it's awesome to hear that the Bay Area kind of looked out, right, at successful programs and picked one that they wanted to be just like. And I wish more organizations at the youth level would do that and reach out, right? I feel like most organizers are the best kinds of people and happy to help, and that can only do a better job of making sure these young players get the ultimate that they need.
More ultimate.
More ultimate.
We're going to see if we can get an update sort of where this game could be headed as the clock is winding down here. It's a 1-point lead for Red Dawn as they will pull to the Foggy Bottom Boys. Trying to pull the upset here is Red Dawn out of the Bay Area. 17 minutes left. That means the soft cap should have gone on, but we did not hear a horn yet. So we're going to have to see what we can find out about that. Real quick update as to a trivia question answer. Mark Lee says the Callahan trivia. I thought that was a horn, but that's just people cheering.
That's
right?
just people cheering
Well, that was a
on the
good job
same
by them.
tone as a horn. Very misleading.
Yeah. So again, who invented the Callahan Award, the observer system we currently use, and the Callahan goal? Charles Kerr was the answer from Mark Lee. That is half correct. There were 2 people. Kerr is one of them. So let's get back to action here. Important point for both teams. A break could be the end of it this late in the game, so this has to be a hold from DC. Jacques Nissan with the disc to Bartlett. Rosenthal slings it, a little short it looked like, but he finds the target. That was a little risky. I don't want to say risky, but had a funny arm release on it, and that's a goal for Andrew London.
Red Dawn anticipating a set play here, making sure that they have a last back set so that they can prevent that immediate Huck look from going off down, quote unquote, downwind now. But made DC work it a little bit more through unders and eat up yardage instead of going to a 1-throw score. So celebrating that small victory certainly, and then picking each other up.
You know, we just saw the DC boys get pretty excited there as both teams now ramping up the enthusiasm. And to me, honestly, that hold does seem kind of important. It seems like now as the game progresses and each team holds, the pressure now onto the offense. And so if the pressure's on the offense and they get the hold, they have kind of won the point there in both ways, both getting the point and winning sort of the mental battle there. Now pressure on the Red Dawn team. You saw there is assistant coach Keenan Lawrence, who, sorry, that is head coach, I believe, John Ortberg walking off the field. But in the huddle at that break there, we saw a little break dancing from Keenan Lawrence, maybe making the bet that, you know, maybe Olympics 2028 for Ultimate isn't in the cards, and there's always going to be a break dancing opportunity. It's kind of a little bit of a stretch maybe, but
maybe
for Keenan Lawrence. But,
perhaps.
you know, who knows?
To add to the pressure, we have confirmed that this game is now to 14.
All right.
So
that
makes it a game to 2. Either way, whoever scores 2 first is going to take this and head off to semifinals.
You see the regulars out here: Tao, Gordon, Rosner. Rosner now with the disc looking for Curry instead to Gordon. Gorin looking for Curry. And Landesman downfield. He's the big receiver target. Wells trying to set up some cuts. Now it's slung up to Tao. Tao looking for Landesman. Can't find him. Will reset to Rosner if he can. He does find him. Rosner to Wells. Wells looking, surveying. Has Gordon. Gordon gets in. They make it look easy. Nice hold. Pressure back on DC as they take the 1-goal lead here. 13-12 game to 14.
I'm really impressed with these around breaks by Tao in particular. This release point, the wide, right? The wide step out, and also just the trust that he, for himself, the self-trust. I can hit this. There are a lot of players that at this age would step into that throw and then check it and be like, no, that's too scary, right?
Right, sure.
And yeah, investing in those wide swings helps open up that front cone because the defense has to play honest D downfield the entire way, just in case one of those around break backhands goes off to that free open space. And so sometimes they cheat over a little bit, and it definitely serves your downfield receivers to do that as handlers so that they can get free, shake free on that open side.
This game looking more and more like an ambush. Red Dawn did not show any of this kind of confidence and real focus as you see Wells and Curry and Gordon walk off together in the earlier game. 2 losses already. But I will say this, yesterday I was coming back from the field, the stadium site, watching the truck stop Ring of Fire game, and as I'm walking back to our field site, I see a team practicing just on their own at 7 o'clock at night, sorry, 8 o'clock at night as the sun was pretty much kind of really drifting out of the sky there, and they looked young, and I say, well, hey, let me introduce myself. Who are you guys? And it was Red Dawn. They were practicing 8 o'clock at night 2 nights ago here, getting ready for this tournament, and you know, just love to see that. And right now here, though, it is DC's ball. They've got to score a turn here for them. Sorry, a break from the bidding out Red Dawn, and that's going to be the end of it for their run.
I bet we're going to see a lot more layouts from Red Dawn on some of these passes here. Just any havoc they can cause might be the break that they need in order to take this game upwind.
Again, pretty accomplished group here. The handle core from Foggy Bottom won this tournament last year. McKnight, Neeson, Rosenthal, Bartlett, all returners. Jace Dean, another one. Patrick Kenny. Up to Rosenthal. McKnight, and there's a call.
Things look a little bit gummy in the stack right now, which is usually a sign of a pick.
Bartlett trying to get space. Ruggiero, another returner, is out there, number 43. As Nissan fires it over to Tober. Now up to London. Whoa, there it is.
Oh.
It's a foul call that will come back, saying his hand was touched on the release. It did kind of come off a little unexpected. I would kind of trust him on this one. Landisman will not contest. So yeah, that looked a little a little funny because it was kind of an easy throw to hit, let's be honest.
It certainly should have been, yes.
McKnight will bomb. He's got Tober, the big man, deep. He's got space in the end zone, or does he? It's at the back. That's a goal. Will Tober goes up, gets it in the back of the end zone. The release from McKnight, and we're going to double game point.
Ah.
Woo!
Oh. My tendency here in these situations, as a person who has coached in these situations a lot of time, is to
freak out.
No, it's to try to like calm all the way down
okay.
and show stoic coach face.
Okay.
And that's just maybe me stylistically, but it's always mostly a lie, right? Because your heart rate, your heart rate goes. Yeah. You're a little bit stressed out, but especially with youth, you have to like show them that you believe in them, right? No matter what, that you have their back, and we're prepared
for
the situation. It depends on whether you have a timeout opportunity to do that. Sometimes you don't have time, right? Sometimes you have to go out there and be like, it's us, let's be us. And that's all you have time to say before you give matchups or strategy or whatever it is. So it's fun for viewers. It's good ultimate. I think it's great for our spectators here. But when I go coach mode, my heart, my heart and my face cannot agree. I have to show that stoicism.
You gotta put the mask on. Almost.
Happy to have a release up here in the booth and be able to be kind of stressed out but excited at the same time with everyone at home. Certainly why we get so many reports across Ultimate Twitter in tight games from those live streamed Nationals events, especially if they go late into the night, right? You get reports of people throwing things at the screen or like pacing around their house or yelling so much their neighbors are wondering what's going on. And this is one of those situations right here.
Real quick, I'll answer that trivia question for you. It's Charles Carr and Will Deaver, who is the National Competition Director for USA Ultimate. Still rocking it. Rosner now with the disc. Red Dawn with the chance to put him away. He's got a man deep. It's Leo Gordon. He sends it. He hangs it. McKnight is there. Gordon skies for the win! Leo Gordon.
There is a player down.
McKnight is down.
I don't think that's McKnight. That might be.
Sorry, you're right. Thank you.
Neeson?
That is Aiden McGurk.
Oh, there we go.
I think this is going to hold. It's a goal. It's the end of the game.
Amazing.
They have done it. Red Dawn has pulled it off. Leo Gordon skies the pack, comes down with it, and what an upset from Red Dawn. The Bay Area team takes out the defending champion Foggy Bottom Boys, and they will move on to the next round into semifinals.
I don't know how Leo Gordon's hand got in there.
Seriously?
That defender looked very well placed, and there were two of them.
Two defenders, yeah.
Incredible finish to this. This is just quarterfinals. We're going to have a heart attack tomorrow.
Update on score, they may be playing the ATLians now with the 12-11 advantage over Devil. If that holds, it will be Red Dawn versus Atlanta. If not, it will be against Devil, the sort of Philadelphia area team, as we look again at this absolutely dialed in receipt from Leo Gordon. It is Matthew McKnight
Ooh.
and Aiden McGurk who landed a little awkward there. McKnight was there, and Gordon. And Gordon pretty enthused there. And now he's looking down at the player down on the ground. What a great game, Aaron. I don't know what else to say. Just, I love how both these teams really had such great concentration and just played great ultimate.
They really did. I think, and you know, it's a universe point game. It's a 1 point difference, but I think the Red Dawn energy is probably the deciding factor in this game. The ability to play a tight game against the 1 seed, get those upwind breaks back exactly when they needed it, and then just ride that kind of chemical reaction that was going on with their team, right? That was the zone of optimal performance from them.
Yeah.
And, you know, credit to DC, a lot of really consistent throws, a really interesting defensive set, a lot of really big plays, but, you know, in a tight game like this, sometimes the hot team, for lack of it, right?
Yeah.
Like the energized
Yeah.
team, the loudest, most into it, excited team, things are just going to click in a different kind of way. And I think that's the takeaway here for Red Dawn. They won the energy game more than anything else.
And let's throw some love to the DC Foggy Bottom Boys. They played a great game. They held in there. They did what they had to do, just not enough. That break that Red Dawn got, the two of them early in this second half, the difference of the game. As we see, it's like Alex Thorne coming out of there and giving a shake to everyone. Wow, what a good one. We got a recap of the game coming out from you from Eddie Chan, the maestro of building these packages. And I hope she gets the love she deserves. So we'll see that in a bit. That'll be the end of the day for us here on the stream. And I believe for many of the games, we'll be back again tomorrow. And we'll be doing some finals for you, so hopefully you'll tune in for that. Thanks everyone for watching, and for Cameron Hodgkinson, who gets the free t-shirt, the Fulcrum Media t-shirt for answering the Donovan Award question. We'll get that out to you.
Really appreciate being able to be out here with you, Tony. I know we sent you onto the field in the hot sun, and you got to be the roving reporter.
That's fun.
So maybe depending on the guest stars we get for tomorrow, maybe that'll be my job tomorrow, is to walk out there and interview folks.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, appreciate the opportunity and the coverage, Tony. I really enjoyed today. I think we covered a lot of great topics. I hope you agree.
Thanks for watching, everyone. And thanks for USA Open and Fulcrum and Aaron Morocco, my partner. It's been great, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Well, hello. I'm Erin Morocco, and this is Tony Leonardo. And we had a really exciting day today, and so just because we like you, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the exciting highlights of the day. You know, we started with the games for the 5th place finals,
Yeah.
right? We had 2 of those games, matchups.
Couple Japanese teams.
Couple Japanese teams with some excellent plays in that regard. And then we shifted over to the youth club tournament you know, I think, do you have a highlight, a personal play highlight, or maybe a technical highlight?
I hear the music. Let's just watch and see.
You want to just
I
watch
like
it?
watching.
All right.
Well, let's see the highlights because they're pretty good.
This is from this last game, the DC Bay Area quarterfinal stunner. A lot of bids, a lot of skies.
Look at that lift, Jero.
Energy highlights as well. That catch by Gordon, pretty amazing. And then here we are in the Nomadic Tribe Sub-Zero game, another stunner. That was the play of the game there from Cousins.
Yeah, Greg Cousins there. Hori. Platinum player now. Hammer that I think wins the game for them. Yeah, there it is. The game winner from Nomadic Tribe.
And then
Now,
Fury versus Puck here. Opie.
doing what
second
Opie
effort.
does.
Yep. I think that's Noguchi. Just had a right?
That's
killer
Noguchi.
of a tournament.
Yeah, Noguchi is good.
See that one again. A lot of bids. That was, well, we had 2 play of the games that game. It was special.
Noguchi on one of them, and Desmond there with that one.
As these teams come together to connect after that amazing game, a lot of embraces. Good to see there.
Well, some of these players will be playing together in college, and some will be playing against each other in college. We'll turn back to the camera here if we're on here. I'm not too sure one way or the other, but can't say thank you enough to everyone for watching and to all the opportunities here for everyone. So from Aaron and I, thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow.